Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to FTB Interactions. So if you recall, originally my plan for this episode was to, which I'm actually not ready to start recording just yet, but I wanted to go through a couple things and talk about a couple really quick things. First up, the biodiesel setup has totally backed up. It actually backed up not too long after last episode, and I actually might set this up with a fluid trash can before too long, just so I can void it until I'm ready, you know, to actually start storing and everything, the acetone and all that. And I'm actually going to be upping this to produce the other fluid here fairly soonish. But I wanted to, originally I was planning on moving into fluids this episode, moving right into fluids, and because that's something that we do need to do. But I changed my mind. And it's not because I don't want to move into fluids, it's just because resource-wise and setup-wise, I'm actually just not ready. I started going through everything and it's like, I need to spend a couple episodes doing a couple other things before I start into my actual fluid storage system. And originally I was actually planning on using the fluid storage components right here. But I actually changed my mind because they're just not that great, in truth. I mean, it's cool to be able to store them in an ME drive, but they're not as effective as storing items in an ME drive because they actually don't store that much, if I recall. The 64K one, sure, it stores a bit, but these portable tanks, and especially if we put holding on them, I think they're just going to be a better option. Plus, we can physically see the fluids, and I always like being able to actually see the fluids. So long term, you'll be able to step in this room and it's just going to be like fluids all over the place. And as you saw with like our Signal one downstairs, which of course it's still got another tier to go, but I mean that thing stores a lot of fluid. And then long term what we'll do is we'll move to the quantum tanks, like what we had the steam stored in, we'll move to that. But for now I think I'm going to use these portable tanks. I'm actually pretty happy with them. We do have some fluid storage ME, I think there are 16Ks. Components, but I just don't think I'm going to use them like I had originally planned to. But I did go through the base and grab a lot of like the miscellaneous liquids that were kind of sitting around that weren't part of like a setup. Eventually our setups will actually feed over into here as well, but I mean you can see there's like hydrogen, there's our glycerol, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfuric acid, so on. There's our liquid XP, life essence, lava that we haven't used in like forever. Just all kinds of things that were just kind of lying around, and I went ahead and bottled those up. That's not including, like I said, stuff that's part of setups or stuff that's in like assemblers and stuff like that. I did not pull that out. Also, I did get this changed over to a steel. I basically just changed the steel drum, emptied it out to all the steam, and plugged it up for the biodiesel. So that's plugged up, and I have I made four, I made more than four, but there's 4 advanced diesel generators down here. There's 2 for each side right now. Eventually there's probably going to be 8 and 7 is my plan. And then up here I have, there's 2 basic diesel generators over there, 2 over here. Once again, it's probably going to end up being 8 and 7 long term. Just whenever I first set these up, it pretty much drained all my backed up biodiesel, so I gave it a little while to fill back up. And I also started running out of materials. By the way, this right here is an ender elevator that just takes us up to the fluid area because we're going to be working up here. But I actually started running out of materials. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys back real quick. I did run a bit of stainless, and then I ran out of iron. So I couldn't make any more stainless. So I started running iron, and we're back up to 889 iron. Like I had like 11 iron to my name. And I think there's like a stack over there, but I had like 11 over here, which was pretty bad. And then I also ran a bunch of aluminum. And we've got 114 in here, and then I think we've got like 2 stacks in the AE system. And I'm about to go out and get some more, actually. But I think what we're going to do this episode, which like I said, I'm not ready to start recording yet, but we're going to overhaul the ore processing system. Because we're actually getting to the point where material costs are getting up there. Where I find myself, if I want to like mass produce generators, I find myself running through a lot of materials because a generator tends to be like around a half stack of aluminum or a half stack of stainless or a half stack of steel, and I just burn through stuff quick. And so I need to upgrade this because it actually takes me forever at this point to whenever I go mining, if I go and I mine a bunch of iron, it actually takes forever for this system to chew through that. Plus, it's time that we upgrade the macerator because we can start getting byproducts. Of course, you can get some byproducts MV. A lot of times it's just like stone dust, though. At HV, you get the full plethora of byproducts. So we're going to be revamping this to HV, and also we need to deal with this because this is annoying. The fact that every single time that the server restarts, I have to make sure and reset that, and it kind of makes it, because we have server restarts every 6 hours, and so it kind of becomes a nuisance because I have to make sure if I'm running a lot of stuff and maybe it takes 12 hours, then I have to, you know, possibly pop on here twice to reset this just so that it can keep running, which is no fun. And actually this has stopped running because I'm actually just feeding all the wood into, I actually turned this off. It's not extracting that anymore at all. And I actually have just all the wood going through. This actually might be backed up on wood at this point. No, it's 41 stacks. I knew earlier today it was like 19 stacks, so I wasn't sure how fast it would back up. But so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're actually going to spend a couple episodes, I think, before we get into the fluid overhaul, because like I said, I'm just not ready material-wise to do all of that. And a lot of it is just automating. I want to be able to automate the fluid storage interfaces, or the fluid storages, or the fluid storage buses. I want to be able to automate those and just automate some things and be able to mass produce lots of things that we're going to need, basically. And I also wanted to take a minute because I forgot to mention it last episode, and I was meaning to I was actually meaning to show you guys this, but then the episode ended up running a little bit long, and yeah, so I didn't. And so I want to take just a brief minute, plus I need to pop over there anyways. The moon base, there we go. Something I've been meaning to show you. If you're wondering how I was making lots of the MV generators and making lots of MV stuff in general, actually right here we have this is an aluminum / star metal / sapphire vein that I've been mining out, and this is actually where I've been getting all of my aluminum, because we get two aluminum ingots per ore, and so I mean I can process a few stacks of aluminum like no problem at all. And it's actually not very far from where my Celestial Gateway is. And if you're looking for these, this was actually brought up in the comments a while back, and I know I mentioned it before, but you find these tiny piles of aluminum. That means there's an aluminum vein down beneath it, and then right here is a gold vein right next to this one. So, but if you're looking for aluminum, just come to the moon, and I mean you could see there's just hordes of aluminum. Aluminum's basically free, I think, more or less, once you hit the moon. So it just takes a little while to process it. So I've been keeping that blast furnace running with either aluminum or stainless. But I did want to take a second today just to show you that. If you had any questions about, aluminum, because we are reaching the point where we're using a whole lot of aluminum. And we're actually going to be using a little bit more maybe this episode, potentially, because basically there's a couple things that we're going to be working on. Like I said, today the primary focus is going to be upgrading and overhauling the ore processing system. That's either going to be 1 or 2 episodes. And then the other things that we really need to do before we start into the fluid system is we need to get into proper blood magic, because the system that I have right now for getting the demonic will crystals so that we can make interfaces and stuff, it's fine for a small system. But we're about to have to make a bunch of that stuff, like a whole bunch of that stuff, because now we're at the point where we have the power to really go crazy with AE, and so now we just need the resources to go really crazy with with AE, and so we're going to be doing a little bit of blood magic, and we should have our proper blood magic room set up. But one thing that we're going to have to do to get our proper blood magic room set up is I'm going to make a builder, because hand mining all that stuff is a nightmare. So we're going to make a builder so we can clear out that room or that big space for blood magic and start into actual demonic wheel farming. And we're also, at long last, we're going to be upgrading our blast furnace and probably making a few more blast furnaces because I want some for automation and I kind of want more for like processing aluminum and processing stainless because it takes a while where I'm at right now to process that stuff. And yeah, we need to do that. Also, probably automate steel and do some stuff like that. At long last, because I'm reaching the point where I can eat through 2 stacks of steel like it's nothing. So it's about time that we make faster steel and automatic steel a thing. So we will start into that. We'll start into that as well. So that's kind of the plan where we're at right now, because I said that we were going to do fluids, but it's just not realistic at the moment. Because I started prepping for that and planning for that. And it was just like, man, I'm just not ready quite yet. I mean, we're not far from being ready, but I'm just not quite ready for that. So, but yeah, so I'm going to do a bit more mining and I'm going to get some stuff together. I'm basically going to, just off camera, I'm going to make our HV machines. Oh, I finally broke my pick. Aha, I finally broke my thaumium pick. I might need to make a better one now. I got a bunch of aluminum ore out of that. Like a stack and a half. Or I mean 2 stacks and a half. So we're looking at like 5 stacks of aluminum ingots. At bare minimum, the macerator, maybe 4 ore washing plants. We're not going to go with the packagers this time because they just don't work properly. We're going to compact everything a little bit differently. But I'm going to want a forge hammer, centrifuge, and electric furnace, bare minimum. I would honestly like to double up on at least like electric furnaces, maybe. Because with certain things like running iron and stuff that produces a lot per macerate, it actually tends to start backing up with secondaries and stuff like that. So we might make a couple furnaces. But anyways, I'll be back in a while. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do for our new pick. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Spectre Charger. These right here, and we can actually put this into our bobble slot, our belt slot. So it's actually where I've got my repair talisman. But I think I can probably just hold it. And then let's grab this atomic disassembler. Wait, I right click it. There we go. Now it's working. So it's pulling RF from our Spectre system and it's dumping it into the atomic disassembler. Now there is a way you can set modes on this, and let's see. I know my inventory is a mess. I need to dump it off, but I want to show you this, and then I'll come back and dump it. Let's see. It should be under mechanism. There is item mode switch. Let's change this to semicolon. There's never enough buttons in modded to cover everything that you want to have hotkeyed, but alright. And then what we can do is we can use that and we can do shift right click. We can set it to slow mode, we can set it to fast mode, we can set it to vein mode and off. We're gonna set it to, actually vein mode might work, and if so, this is gonna be crazy good. I think it'll probably be about one of the better picks, aside from like Draconic Evolution, Staff of Power, and Terra Shatterer would probably be the other two, and then that's probably about it. Thaumcraft's got some good picks, but nothing that really comes to this level, and TC doesn't even come close to some of these picks. But okay, with vein mode, yeah, if we hold shift, see, I just mined up, well, I think it was 18 aluminum ore in one go. Basically an entire vein's worth. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, we don't have to hold shift. It's just if we mine it with it set to vein mode, it's going to mine up all... Whoa! That must have been a whole drop of aluminum right there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it mines up like the entire... Whatever's connected up, it mines it up. I don't think it works... No, it doesn't work with stone. It's just like metals and stuff like that it works with. Yeah, this is amazing. And since we have that that wireless charger, I mean, look at that. I've almost mined up 2 stacks of aluminum now. Yeah, this is definitely our way to go. This is great. And honestly, it's going to be better than the Terra Shatter until we get to some of the upper levels. Once you get the Terra Shatter to some of the upper levels, and especially with the way that GregTech veins are kind of distributed, and there's ores all over the place. It's going to be the worst thing is hoping that I don't miss anything. Boom! And you'll notice, I mean, it's not using like any power at all. See, if you hit shift right click, you can see, I believe that's 20 power per use per block, and then 8 slow is 8, and it's like that, which really isn't that slow. If you do fast, it's insta break. So that's going to be nice for like farming obsidian, stuff like that. I don't think that vein works with like farming obsidian, though I could be wrong. Not for sure, but we'll just have to test it and see. But yeah. So we got a new pick. I was actually originally thinking about going with the GregTech one, and GregTech one, and then I was like, oh yeah, we got the atomic disassembler, so we'll just go with that, which is pretty much going to set us in a pretty good place on a pick for a while. There's 5.5 stacks of aluminum, so I think we're going to be good on aluminum for a little while, and I've actually got a lot of star metal and sapphire and stuff. So I'm going to warp on home. One other thing that I want to check though, and I don't think this actually works. I recall it not working, I think. At least through standard enchanting. It seems like you could bypass it with a couple things, but yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so you cannot enchant the atomic disassembler. So we can't get like fortune on it or anything like that, but the thing is with GregTech and with this pack, most of the stuff that you're mining, you can't fortune it anyways. So that's no biggie in that case. And actually, I was looking the other day, I think we need to start getting into blazing pyrotheum before long, because then we can start making clumps. And we'll have to start getting into chickens as well. Yeah, we'll start working on that before too long, but that's going to be interesting. Whenever we start getting into like the full ore processing, and right now we're just running it for this, but we'll start automating blazing pyrotheum soon, and yeah, start upping our output as well. But anyways, I'll be back in a while once I get everything prepped and ready to go, and then we will we'll start overhauling our ore processing system. And I might move our blast furnace out of the way as well, but we'll see. I think it's fine there for right now, but yeah, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I want to bring you guys back just really, really fast. I'm about to start prepping up machines, and I got to thinking one thing we need to do is we have a quest to get 40 electric motors, right? So let's go ahead and order 40 electric motors and get that going. It's going to take a little bit to craft. And also the processors, I need 16. I've got 5. I crafted up some of these, but I wonder, I'm going to be out of plastic circuit boards. Okay, I've got to prep up a couple things because I need more plastic circuit boards, and I guess I never taught it how to make the fine annealed copper wire. Polyvinyl chloride sheets, and I need a gallium ingot. Okay, but let's see, this is kicking away. This is going to take a little while to craft all of this because it has to make 466 copper wires, and yeah, just lots and lots of stuff, but I'll be back in a bit. Okay, it's been a little bit. I think it took, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or something, but our 40 electric motors, the HV electric motors, are done. So there we go, quest completed. I'll go ahead and throw that back in. And we have completed this quest here, and we get 32 magnetic steel rods, 32 stainless, 64 4x copper wires, 32 gold wires. I'm going to go ahead and throw all this stuff into there. The rewards from these are so nice. Then we also got 32 rubber bars, 8 rubber rings, 8 steel rotors. And also this quest over here, I completed this between episodes. This is for making a basic diesel generator. So this is done, and we get a delighted meal and an oil steel cell with 64 buckets of oil in it. So yay. Go ahead and throw this stuff into there. Okay, so our 40 motors are done. It's so nice when you can just order those instead of having to like manually craft them. And I did get this set up, turbo diesel generator. It's feeding an advanced chemical reactor. and I'm about to make the poly vinyl stuff. Because I want to make these plastic circuit boards, the polyvinyl chloride sheets. I mean, I could do this with polytetrafluoroethylene. Honestly, I don't know if it would be worth just doing it in this now. I'll probably still go with the polyvinyl chloride first, because it's really just chlorine, oxygen, and ethylene, which we've got plenty of that stuff. Oh yeah, I need to order portable tanks. Oh, and I did teach you how to make reinforced upgrade kits and portable tanks as well. So we can just order these things now. And I'm out of copper. I'm actually really low on copper. That's something I really have to get. Like, I've got to stock up on copper, gold. I need to stock up more on iron. I need more silver. I'm good on tin. Graphite. Yeah. But basically, I need to stock back up on metals here soon. I've been kind of holding out until we get into the new ore processing system. But we're going to be doing that here soon. So, but anyways, I'll be back once I get the stuff together and we're ready to order our 16 processors. Okay, so there is... it's actually really easy to make. Once you have ethylene and chlorine and oxygen automated, it's like, it's nothing. Let's go ahead and throw this into there. And I went ahead and I made the plastic sheets out of polytetrafluoroethylene, actually. Because we don't use that for too much right now. I mean, we could use it for some nice stuff, but I didn't mind using it for that. Plus, it makes 4 times as much, which is pretty awesome. But we should be able to order our processors now. We need 12 in total. I'm going to be short on redstone. Oh yeah, and gallium. And okay, we should be good to start this now. So we're ordering 12 processor assemblies. And this is all the steps that it's going through. So, I'll be back in a little bit once that's done. And then we'll be ready to start into HV. Honestly, we're at the point now where I'm probably not even going to bother making much in the way of LV machines anymore. Eventually all this is going to be upgraded, but you know, this is just kind of a starting point. Because MV is so cheap, especially, you know, since we can just go to the moon and mine up aluminum, and once we get a better, faster blast furnace, then aluminum's not going to be any issue at all. So, especially once we hit that point, like, LV is going to start becoming obsolete, and we'll be lots of MV and HV, and then before long we'll be moving into more EV and so on. So, but yeah, I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, the last processor is finishing up right now. And then that's going to put us up at the magical number 16. There we go. And quest completed. Alright. And we got 32 SMD transistors, 32 resistors, 32 capacitors, and we got 64 fine electrum wire, 64 raw carbon fibers, and 16 platinum dust. Okay, so now we're ready. I can start making all of our machines. And steel and diamonds, HV machine hull. Okay. And another thing I should do before I get started is I should go ahead and order up, if I have the stainless for it, let's start with like 5 of these. Yeah, I got the stainless for it. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Okay, so I'll be back once I get the HV machines made up that we need, and we'll start getting this all set up. Okay, I had to order another, I'm making another turbo diesel generator real quick, and I ran into one slight, not really problem, I just didn't, you know, it was something we're actually going to start working on soon, and something I didn't think about needing today. You can see I did get the macerator, the ore washing plant, the forge hammer, and the centrifuge made, and I was going to make the electric furnace, and that's what I'm working on. I actually ran out of processors, and I've got to make up another batch. I've got to get some more sulfuric acid made up. But the electric blast furnace, we are going to need Kanthal wire for this. And this is something, whenever I talked about earlier, when I was talking about we were going to be upgrading our blast furnace soon, this is actually part of what we'll be doing for upgrading our blast furnace. So let's grab some of this aluminum dust, and let me get, I'm going to need some of this chrome dust as well. My inventory's all over the place. I'm actually going to put some of these oak. I'm going to get oak planted in this farm so we have saplings coming in for EMC. I'm going to do that here soon. You know, we used to have a lot of saplings that we used for EMC, but let me dump this half stack of iron into the macerator, get this macerating real quick. And what we are going to do is we're going to make a new metal called Kanthal. And we have to make the dust. It's 1 part aluminum, 1 part iron, 1 part chrome, and you get 3 dust per craft. So we're going to end up with a stack and a half of this once it's all said and done. There we go. And I guess I had some chrome in there maybe. And then this stuff has to be ran through the blast furnace. And this is just a 120 AU per tick craft. So let me pull out this aluminum for right now. And we're going to throw in the Kanthal. And I'm just going to set this to the side for just a minute. And it's going to take a second there. And then hopefully my diesel generator is done. So let me put our diesel generator setting right there. And then we're just going to shift right click. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to plug that up with a GPS marker because we're actually not going to run it a whole lot at the moment. But kind of what I'm thinking is, I don't think I want a full tank of it. Let me grab like 5 buckets of biodiesel. And we'll just dump that right into there. That way it can make us up a little bit of power. And this is running Kanthal right now. Okay, so there's our first hot Kanthal ingot. Now this is going to burn us, if I recall. Yeah. But we're going to put this into the input bus in the vacuum freezer. The burning, it was something you had to watch out for back on Infotech, because it was actually quite a bit of damage, but we have like super regen on here. But there's our very first Kanthal ingot. So yay. And we're going to need a lot of this, because what I need to do, which actually the stack and a half that we're running is actually probably going to be plenty for that. But to upgrade the blast furnace, we're going to have to upgrade to HV power for starters, which we will do. I'm going to get the blast furnace moved, though, somewhere a little bit nicer probably before I do that. It probably won't be this episode. But we also have to make these Kanthal coil blocks, because that's going to bump our base heating capacity from 1800 Kelvin to 2700 Kelvin. Now, honestly, whenever we upgrade the blast furnace, I'm actually probably going to go ahead and just bump it up to nichrome. And we have to make the Kanthal just so that we can make the nichrome, but we're probably just going to go ahead and move on up to nichrome immediately, and probably tungsten steel not too long after that. Just kind of working up through the heat for the different coils. But nichrome, I believe I looked at this and it actually wasn't too bad to make. It's chrome and nickel, and you get 5 nichrome through the blast furnace. But you see, you have to have a temperature of 2700 to make nichrome. 2700 is Kanthal temperature. That's why we have to do that first before we can move on up to the nichrome. And then we also need it to be an HV level to craft it. So, yeah. But we'll probably go ahead and just bump on up to nichrome. Maybe even tungsten steel. I've got to look at the tungsten steel again. Steel and tungsten, and I think tungsten though is the end. We need to go to the end before too long maybe, and I think it's, yeah, tungstate right there. So the end, we might start looking towards going to the end. I also want to go to the end so we can start making osmium and start making lots and lots of quantum tanks before too long. But we're going to have to take on a Chaos Dragon probably before we can mine it, so that's going to be fun times. But yeah, that's something that we'll be diving into before too long. There's just a whole lot of directions that we can take at the moment, and so we're kind of mixing it up a little bit here. But now that I've got that, I can run a little bit of that through the wire mill. I need to set up another wire mill here in a minute, because that one's actually filled up on recipes at the moment. But the electric furnace, we're going to need 4 2x Kanthal wires. So I need to get another 2 ingots made. Which isn't, that's no biggie. And I think I think it's 2 times for the coil blocks, right? Kanthal, yeah. Okay. So hopefully after all that stuff runs through, we'll have enough Kanthal. I think we'll have enough Kanthal to make the coils that we need for this blast furnace. But anyways, I'll be back here in just a bit once I get the electric furnace made and a couple other little odds and ends made, and we'll get this stuff set up. By the way, I almost forgot. I actually kind of did. Oh, I'm out of what? Okay, I've got the plastic circuit boards, but I think I'm like just about shot on copper. I got that there. I'm gonna have to go stock back up because this is like the last of my copper that I've got right here. But I actually almost forgot, kind of did forget there for a second. We don't need a forge hammer. I actually crafted a forge hammer, which isn't really a big deal because we can use that. But what we actually need is, because if you recall when we set up the forge hammer before, I set it up only because we couldn't get byproducts with the basic macerator. But now we're moving up to the HV macerators. We can get byproducts. You can actually get byproducts at the MV macerator. It's just we didn't do an MV upgrade for our ore processing system. It really wasn't needed at the time. What it needs to do is it needs to go macerate, ore wash, macerate, centrifuge, smelt is how we're going to handle it for like the basic ore processing. I mean, within this pack there's a lot more ore processing to do, but that's the basic layout of it, of our basic system that we're using. So, but anyways, I'll be back in a bit. I'm still getting this stuff together, but I just wanted to mention that we're not going to be going with the forge hammer. So, just a heads up. Okay, it's been a little bit. I've been prepping stuff up, and I'm not sure if I have enough stainless. No, I'm 16 short. And I'm actually out of chrome right now. I do have some more stainless running, but I don't have enough of that Kanthal to upgrade the blast furnace just yet, because I actually need 2 stacks, and I'm going to be short a bit. But I don't have the chrome at the moment. And I haven't bothered making any chrome because right now it's a little bit of an effort to do that. But as soon as we get this set up, we can pulverize ruby ore, and we're going to have a 14% chance to get chrome then. And I actually have a lot of ruby ore. Ruby ore is really easy to go mining for, and I think there's actually a couple other... No, it's just ruby, but yeah, that's good. And I think there's a couple other places where we can get some chrome through, well, ore washing. You can get tiny piles of chrome from that. But anyways, I think we're ready to go. And you can see in this chest, I've got a bunch of stuff prepped up. I've got our macerator, our 4 advanced ore washing plants, another macerator, a centrifuge, an electric furnace. I've got 2 arcane pattern crafters. And this, I think, is what we're going to be using to replace the packagers since they're not working. You know, we made that one last episode. I went ahead and whipped up another one. So there's that. I've got some chests, which actually... I think the large memory chest will work with the arcane pattern crafter. We've got some additional large memory chests because we're going to be setting things up a little bit differently this time. We've got some 8x gold cable. We've got turbo diesel generators. I've got 4 of them so far. Once I get some more stainless built up, I'll make some more. But I need that chrome to do so. And then I've got some conduits. And actually, those conduits are from cleaning this up. Look, there's no big pile of junk here anymore, because we don't need steam, and it was never really going to stay here long term anyways, and now it is gone. And this actually is going to get cleaned up slightly. I have to make a node system, and I'm going to move the fuel wood heater probably just up right here, and then have a node router that connects to our charcoal system downstairs, you know, from our diesel system. How we have all that charcoal coming in, that's what we're going to power our fuel wood heaters with. Which right now we just have this one, but eventually we're going to have another one of these set up. Actually here pretty soon, in fact. But anyways, let's go ahead. And this room is getting ready to go through a big change. Let's go ahead and pull up this memory chest. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and just break apart our entire node system that's over here. Because we don't want this. We're going to start from scratch. And I'm actually going to break all of our tin cables off, and I'm going to break our diesel generators, and I'm going to break the electric furnace, I'm going to break the centrifuge, I'm going to break both of these packagers. We get some free MV robot arms from it. Break our forge hammer off, macerator. Okay, so that stuff's all cleared out. And I also have to move these memory chests. I'm going to also need to pull up this memory chest. Some of these things are going to get placed back down, more or less. It's just things are going to change with them slightly. So the layout more than anything, because we're kind of revamping it. It's going to be set up so that we can easily expand it. Right now I've just been dumping all this stuff into here. I'll sort through it in a minute. Item sorting stuff is coming up soon. That's going to be one of our upcoming projects. But I decided just to dump it here because this is kind of all similar stuff, and I've got to figure out where I want to set it up at. But okay, so what we're going to do, let's go ahead and get to business. We're going to have the macerator, ore washing plants, macerator, centrifuge, electric furnace, and then our gold cables and our turbo diesel generators, which I think this is still going to be where everything's set up at, like as far as the diesel generators go. Oh, actually my all my stuff went invisible, so I'm gonna have to reload the pack. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go ahead and run some gold cable, and we'll have our machines kind of lined up, similar placement to where we had them before. We're going to start with go ahead and just get all of our machines placed, and then we'll run the conduits. And the conduits are a little bit different than what we had before, but and I'm going to scoot this over just so I can have this block here be kind of a corner bit that comes up. Then we'll run this over, and actually let me go get my dolly. Okay, so let's get these out of the way real quick. I'm just going to move them over just out of the way somewhere. Those are going to get cleaned up a little bit as well. And then let's see, we'll have, actually I guess the ore washers can actually go right here. So we'll have ore washer, oops, ore washer, ore washer, ore washer, like that. And then we'll skip a block space. And I will say that, I mean, this will be built so that we can scale it pretty easily. So that's not going to be a concern for us. And then we're going to have the next macerator setting here, the next centrifuge setting here, and then we will skip a block, and then we'll have electric furnaces, and then there's going to be an autoclave system right in there as well. And then I'm actually probably going to have a blast furnace sitting right here. So we'll have like autoclave, and then it's going to kind of dip in, then like blast furnace. Whenever I move this, I'll do that later. We won't do that on camera. We've set, it's really no different. It's just going to be set to basically match up with our new system for conduits and stuff like that. And then let's go ahead and set up our diesel generators, and then we'll just run these up like that. And then I would like to have another maybe 4 diesel generators right here that power everything. So, and I think that'll be good. And then I also need to run that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that, just so if the power's coming out right here, it can go over instead of having to go down and around. I mean, really, I could put cables right in here too, but I think this will be good. So if the power's coming out right here or here, it can just go right over instead of having to make a full circle around. That should be good. And then I'm going to add more electric furnaces and stuff. And I mean, this is all built so that we can easily scale it. So, and I'm going to go ahead and run. I'm not going to set up the autoclave right now. We'll do the autoclave once we automate Liquid Starlight, which will be before too terribly long. That's coming up on our agenda. So, okay, so that stuff's in place. That's the machines. And then I don't guess I need that cable right now.